So I'm going to do some cryptology, game theory, and economic evaluation as a cryptologist and code breaker, still being held hostage by Epstein's Iran-Contras cartel in Burlington. I just filed a restraining order against a former judge, now an attorney assisting Alan Dershowitz and Todd Blanche, Pam Bondi, and my employer ex-boyfriend who's trying to kill me. I was sexually assaulted by a doctor with a speculum for 3 fucking minutes. I still have the recording. Now the local state police and local special investigators have that phone. I made a video up because I didn't know how to upload audio to YouTube. So I got a new phone, played the recording on the phone, and made a video recording of that audio that I uploaded to YouTube. It's unmistakable. I'm being assaulted by an ER doctor at Mizzou with a speculum for 3 fucking minutes. Pelvic exams don't take that long. 10 seconds at the most. And they're supposed to tell you every fucking thing they're doing before they do it, so that you know what's happening and why. He's not doing that. All you hear is that speculum click, 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 clicking, because he's yanking it in and out, because he knows that the uterine cancer mass has ruptured. It's going septic. I'm hemorrhaging externally and internally, and he was deliberately causing me excruciating pain to the point that I was about to kick him in his motherfucking teeth. Especially since I was in the stirrups. I promise you, I've earned the right to speak on this. Sad news is, this shit is systemic. Globally. Now, I don't know Graham Plattner personally. I'm not from Maine. I don't know his accuser personally. But I know I was victimized repeatedly as a child. I'm a CSAM survivor. That's why I was raped as an adult, because I was talking about what happened to me as a kid in Missouri and Arkansas, while Bill fucking Clinton was flying in dope through Mena, Arkansas. And then Joe Biden and segregationist Strom Thurmond wrote the crime bill to make all those drugs they were importing illegal, so they can then rape and kill us all. They're pushing that crap to kids. They cultivate a rapist culture. These are Epstein's partners in crime, and Susan Collins is a part of that. Graham Plattner was a victim of it. He's just as much a victim as the rapist, human trafficking network that affects us all, especially since he went into the military. In my text, in my restraining order that I submitted via email, it says specifically that Judge Hoare was working with military elite, namely the Goldwaters, who run Homeland Security, who are naval intelligence, which birthed the CIA. They're Barry Goldwater's evil spawn. She's a special forces instructor. You didn't get anywhere in the military. If you were in the military, you were trained to be a patriarchal rapist piece of shit. That's why rape of other females in the military is just absolutely an epidemic. There's women, they're raping and killing their own fellow soldiers. There was protests in Texas because one lady reported rape, and they found her. I don't even know if they ever found her body. She's just missing now. She was, I don't know whether she was Army, Navy, Air Force, or Marines, and she was a woman of color. I'm Native American. What I do know as a victim, especially of domestic violence, you want it to stop. Now, a lot of these idiotic PIs, they're operating on behalf of the doctor who SA'd me. Most of the people who SA'd me as a kid, I got to kill them because my dad was an assassin. They came after me instead of him. They molested me as an autistic mongrel child and then tried to convince me he did it. And they're still doing it. I have Goldwater, Virginia G. Piper, a.k.a. Peggy Goldwater, a.k.a. Carol McCain, on audio. Oh yeah, you were a child porn victim and your dad this and your dad that. She's telling me, I'm not telling her, but then she's running and telling him that I said it. That I'm doing drugs and I'm refusing cancer treatment. And he knows damn well she's lying. He's just going along with it and then saying, oh, we'll do this and do that, go ahead and kill her. He's setting her up. She thinks she's setting him up. She's the very and she is an alcoholic and addict. She got high on her own supply too. I'm not disparaging the poor people that are victims. I'm talking about the military elite who used Jeffrey Epstein to blackmail people all over the world and blackmail everybody on Wall Street and blackmail politicians and whoever else. She's the very definition of the thief who steals your wallet and then helps you look for it. Only she's the motherfucker raping and killing your kids, and then because she's Homeland Security who investigates the illegal movement of people and products, which is to say human trafficking, she gets to investigate herself. What the people of Maine need to think about right now, as an SA victim, I reported it as soon as I clarified with a sexual assault victims advocate that what happened was in fact a sexual assault, to the very police that I believed was behind it. I knew the police were corrupt. I was a civil rights investigator in Missouri while Ferguson was blowing up. My rape prompted me to send an email suggesting the Mizzou football player strike and they set it up and they pulled it off beautifully. Brilliant. I said it would devastate this entire local economy. Shit, it devastated the entire University of Missouri system, statewide. I promise you I've earned the right to speak on this. If I were in Maine and voting, first thing I would be asking is, okay, she's saying she didn't want to be talking about it because she didn't want to be known as a great victim, but you wait till this motherfucker has national fucking recognition, and instead of going to the fucking police, you go to the newspapers? She could have done both. She could have sent, every single police department has emails. She could have emailed the damn police chief and CC'd it to all the press. There's just something not right about this. I don't trust Politico and I don't trust the New York Times. Even she's saying that they didn't even vet it properly and deliberately withheld certain stuff. Here's another thing, and I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I have no doubt that it did. He was drunk, he was arrogant, he was trained to be a rapist and a killer by the military, and there's this thing called forced assimilation. I'm the great-granddaughter of Native American slaves. My grandfather was a horrible, horrible domestic abuser. But he was taken to one of those horrible schools, taken away from my great grandparents, and he was beaten and molested, and God only knows what they did to him. And he never, you have to remember, back in the day, there was no help. The only reason why we understand most of the shit is wrong now is because of the new generation. You're supposed to teach. We're supposed to learn from each other. I believe he did it, and I believe he doesn't remember. That's why when I look at him, and I'm a living human lie detector. I know facial coding. I rapidly analyze. I'm a savant, code breaker, autistic savant, prodigy, invited to join the Men's Association. No, I was a little sus because it's supposed to be the top 1% smartest people in the world, and I'm going, if you guys are actually doing what you say you're doing, then the top 1% of the biggest idiotic thieves and frauds wouldn't be in control of everybody else. So I never contacted the proctor and went through a more formal interview. I was invited to go be interviewed by the previous proctor for Mensa, who said I would be a shoo-in, and she interviewed me thoroughly. She says, they're not going to even bother with a written test for you. They're going to interview you and you're going to be in. Anyway, I believe when I watched the videos, if he was literally blackout drunk when it happened, then he has no recollection. Guess what that means? There's no criminal intent. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. It means there's no criminal intent. Did he probably stalk her? He probably did. Did she file charges and get a restraining order? No. Okay then. Enough said. Why wait till now to come out with all of this? And two newspapers that are Mossad mouthpieces, Politico and New York Times. And then you have Jake Tapper acting like he's all concerned. Meanwhile, he's rubbing Hunter Biden's dick. Everybody's making excuses for Hunter Biden and Bill Clinton. And nobody told Andrew Cuomo to jump out of the New York mayor's race. They went through the motions and said, oh yeah, you need to resign from governor. Finally he did. Then they get right behind him when he runs for New York mayor. So fuck out. I don't give a shit with the Dem establishment or anybody who's withdrawing their endorsement. Cuomo's one of not so former Clinton crony Democrat Trump's New York real estate attorneys, and the Dems didn't have no problem with Andrew Cuomo teaming up with Trump to defeat Mamdani. So, sorry, I don't care. All that's fallen on deaf ears. Now, I know Bernie retracted his endorsement. He's different. Him and Ro Khanna are different. I think Graham Plattner did it. But what Maine voters need to think about is, are you going to let yourselves and your children and your grandparents continue to be raped to death and dragged by the rapist Epstein regime, which isn't strictly limited to Republicans? It includes Chuck Schumer, to whom Trump donated 80 grand and praised, and then Chuck Schumer went on Trump's show The Apprentice and praised Trump. They don't tell you that. They don't tell you how Trump donated $8,000 to Kamala. They don't tell you how Trump donated to the Democratic senatorial campaign to keep Pelosi in office. What you guys need to decide is, are you going to continue to be raped by the current regime, Nazi regime, because you don't want a senator who might have raped a woman while blacked out drunk, and she never reported it to the police or filed a restraining order for the stalking. She waits until he's won a Democratic primary to say something. I understand. If he was blackout drunk, he couldn't say anything. He doesn't remember it. I'm just saying. And I'm saying this as somebody who's saying he did it. But he has reformed himself, and he understands he was trained to be a piece of shit, and he's pissed, and he doesn't want anybody else to join this military and be trained to be a rapist piece of shit. He wants to defeat, smash the patriarchy, which is what all of us as SA victims want. We want to see our abuser admit what they did and then make amends, make shit right. Well, he can't admit it because he was blackout drunk, but he can damn sure make it right, because he does remember being a patriarchal Republican douchebag. He's the perfect person to be defeating them, which is definitely what I call making amends. It's called turning an asset, or excuse me, converting a liability into an asset. It's what all and this is definitely a terrorist organization we're dealing with. We need to recruit as many of their former Klansmen to help defeat them. That's what it's going to take, like it or not. Wrath is a deadly sin. If you hate him for what he did to her many years ago, that she didn't even bother reporting it to the police, she could have filed a restraining order in family court. You don't have to go to police for that. She didn't even do that. Which is to say, she didn't think it was a serious enough crime to go to any authority and have him put in prison. So, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not saying he didn't do it. I'm saying, per his victim, what he did wasn't bad enough to even warrant a restraining order. Where you don't go to police. You actually talk to usually other women that work for the court, and then the judge issues an order, and that's that. She didn't even do that. That's really suspicious. I have real stalkers, and they cringe to the point that I had to buy new pepper spray and a new taser off the street because mine is with my stuff. And I'm about to start frying I'm going to zap them, drop them, and then I'm going to shove that taser in their crotch, and I'm going to fry it. There's going to be the smell of fried testicles. That's how I feel about stalkers. So what Maine voters need to think about is, are you going to hate him for what he did years back that even his own victim didn't bother filing a restraining order? And let your kids continue to get raped and trafficked, and you get raped, and our military get slaughtered, and the genocide continue out of wrath. Do you think he's going to reoffend? I don't. Now, if it comes out that there's a whole bunch of more other women, if it's credible, if there were any police reports that he was doing this or any restraining orders on him, trust me, the Dems would have, and the Republicans would have already produced it. I don't think there's going to be a floodgate of new allegations. And he's already said he was a patriarchal douchebag. He already admitted that he was. Andy Cuomo ain't going to admit that. Donald Trump ain't going to admit that. Hunter Biden isn't going to admit that he was trafficking young teenage girls. His book, he blames them. He's making himself out to look like the victim. And this is the same establishment that now wants to demonize Graham Plattner? Come on. And you notice I didn't compare Plattner to Trump. I compared him to other Democrats that are backed by the Democratic establishment that's now telling Plattner to drop out. And I certainly understand trauma, reliving trauma. But does the entire fucking world have to suffer and keep getting raped because of her trauma that wasn't even bad enough to go and file a restraining order? I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize to her. I know anybody who put their hands on me in any way, shape, or form, I want them locked the hell up. And any police officer who won't do their job, I'll keep raising hell until I find the right police agency to do the job. That's exactly what I've been doing. So I certainly didn't hold back and then, crap, I guess the guy's going to get elected to the Senate. I guess now I'll go to a newspaper. Sorry. I mean, I'm not saying that it didn't happen, and I'm not saying that she didn't know how to deal with it. I'm saying there's a lot of nuances here for Maine voters to think about. Keep getting raped by the current establishment with Susan Collins, or let a former alleged essayer, I don't even know how to put it since he was blacked out and he couldn't. I have to say there's kids around, so I can't say much. I'm just saying. Plattner, if he was blacked out, he doesn't remember, so in his mind, he's innocent. Because he has no recollection. So he has no guilty conscience. That's why he doesn't look guilty. But he's probably using the word categorically because he knows it's damn well a possibility that he did do it. What Maine voters need to think about is, are you going to let a former essayer fight the current human trafficking regime that's raping and killing all of us globally? You gonna let it go on because of something he did that he don't even remember? Or says he doesn't remember? Even if he does remember, if he's not that person anymore, if he's no longer assimilated with the rapist culture and he wants to end it because he doesn't like who he was, that's called converting a liability into an asset. And if his victim really cared about public safety, she would want him in there making things right by putting an end to the systemic child and human trafficking.